If you're gonna start something that you've never done before, you're gonna run out of cash. You never know what the tax man is gonna come.
With product businesses, you definitely want to have good margins. You get a lot of cash tied up too. So if I put in a new product order, several months that my cash is out and I'm not making revenue. A big challenge for us is figuring out how can we get to a better cash conversion cycle. I know founders who are importing from China that have to deal with tariffs and goes like 150, just like something outrageous.
Welcome to Driving Impact. Hello, Ivana. I'm so excited to have you at the pod. So welcome to Driving Impact, the top 5% method.
I'm excited to be here and so excited to catch up. It's been like a year since no, 2 years, maybe more.
So last time we saw each other, it was in Toronto. I was visiting my team, which was at LinkedIn in Toronto, like downtown Toronto. And we were just doing a connect and we did a selfie in front of the LinkedIn sign. So
Yes.
funny. And it was so funny because we used to be together in the Bay Area, and then you're Canadian, I'm Canadian, and then I had a Canadian team as well. So it was so funny you were in Toronto for a quick stint, I believe, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think only 3 years, and we just moved out to Vancouver now, so we're back on the West Coast.
Come back to the best coast.
Yes, West Coast, West Coast.
So I'm super excited to have you because at the pod, we talk a lot about what are the different hacks or career strategies of the top 5%ers, so people who go above and beyond in their field. And what I find extremely exciting about your journey, Ivana, is that I met you when we were working in sales in the trenches at the Google in the Bay Area selling advertising to
Yeah.
all of those amazing customers and agencies. And I remember something about you is that you were extremely fierce, extremely courageous. And now, from all of your dreams, you are the CEO of Playfield. And I want to hear all about Playfield because I remember you spent a lot of time at Google and then suddenly you created your own company. So tell us a little bit more about you, your dreams as a child. What were you ever like? What were your dreams? What did you want to be like when you were growing up?
I think I always knew I wanted to be I think I don't know I didn't know what the term was back then, right, when you're a kid, but I think I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, or I at least, always had that spirit. So, I distinctly remember when I was in 5th grade, my dad had these old ties that he didn't wear, and so I upcycled them. Like, I would cut them up at home and turn them into little coin bags because all the students in my class were carrying quarters to buy candy at school, and they were using Ziploc bags that fell apart. So I was like, I'm gonna make something with materials that I have. And I sold them at school.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the first kind of I don't know, call it iteration, I guess, of being an entrepreneur.
And you were very passionate as well about everything that was retail or commerce
Mhm.
clients,
Yes.
inner sales team. And one vivid memory I have is you were part of this leadership program that back then in 2015, I don't remember the years where we were working together, which was the leadership program. At the time, it was called the Coffee Club,
Yep.
that you had an executive presence goal and you did something extraordinary.
Yeah. I remember that. I think it was 20, I want to say 2016, 2017. Maybe.
2017.
Yep, and then with the coffee club, it was all about lifting up other women within the organization, and at the time, I was still pretty early. I would say, even now, I'm pretty early in my career, but at the time, I was a 20-some-year-old, first time working in a corporate environment where you're interfacing with C-suite level, representatives, and one thing I really wanted to work on was just executive presence, right? How do I carry myself differently? How do I think about presenting things to key stakeholders in a way that they would take me seriously, despite having, you know, maybe fewer years of experience or just being on the younger end or even looking on the younger end, right? You want people to take you very seriously.
I always thought
You look
you were.
fabulous.
I don't know about that. I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it. I'll own it. So outside looking in, I always thought, like my perception of you is that you were very polished. Did you face any challenges as in your career as a woman?
Definitely. I think there were multiple things. So I'm the first of my family to even graduate from high school, graduate from university, get a corporate job. And my family being, I'm the child of immigrants. I think
Mhm,
the way we were raised also, which I found really at odds with how corporate America works,
mhm,
being a Chinese Peruvian child of immigrants, you want to respect other people at the table. You don't want to dominate the conversation. You don't want to interject yourself where it doesn't make sense. And I found that especially in a sales culture in corporate America, it is a lot about being loud and being heard. Um, I still think there's ways to do it tact, but I often felt like I just, would kind of reserve my thoughts or wait until it was like the exact opportune moment. But sometimes you need to create those opportunities for yourself, right? So it's a little bit about finding balance and
yeah.
finding ways in which I could make it make sense for me from a cultural perspective to then carry myself, kind of talk about my accomplishments without being too self promotional.
This is so important, Ivana, what you're saying, because I've hear it a lot from women, and that's one of the so Harvard has spent 146 years studying what holds women back, and one of the factors is waiting for the perfect moment or waiting for the opportunity, and also maybe not being self-promotional
Mhm.
enough. And I
Yeah.
think that's important because when you think about women like Sarah Blakely,
Mhm.
who was on a
Love
always on yeah. And when I look about her, she was like us, was a salesperson,
it.
and
Mhm.
she was very, very bold and very resourceful, and she was selling, like, copy machines
Mhm.
and door to door, and she would just leverage that opportunity, which is not a glamorous job. It's a job. And she would leverage that. And you make me think of her because like from this job that's unglamorous, she took that opportunity and she built the muscle to be able to go for what she wants. And she found a problem and she reached out to one of the biggest brands and she sold a product. And what I remember from the leadership program when you were one of the participants, one of the stories that really impressed me and that would always because we put it on the website internally was that you reached out to this one of your heroes. This and I remember you were obsessed with e-commerce and retail. You and Michelle both, and I was leading retail, and I was like, these two, they really like retail. And I liked retail, and I always thought I was gonna launch a retail brand as well. And you
Mhm.
reached out to the CEO of Lafleur.
Mhm.
Can you
Yep.
tell me a little bit more about this outreach? Where did it come from? And the
Yeah.
inspiration? Why her?
100%. So it's so funny. It was at Google. Someone walked out of the women's bathroom wearing a trench coat that I was like, oh, that's stunning. I'm going to ask her where she got it from. And the lady told me she bought it from Lafleur.
Mhm,
So I looked it up online. I'd never heard of the brand. I looked up the company online, was going through their website, went to their About Me section, and then I read about the founder, Sarah LaFleur, and how she had started the company with her own capital, how she had no prior experience in the fashion world, but just, hustled, right? Like found a designer that she partnered with, gave her equity because she didn't have cash to pay her, and launched this incredible brand and business. And I was just so impressed because she's also an Asian American woman.
mhm.
So I saw some similarities there. And I know that people get so many emails, right? Like you're flooded. Now as a founder, it's like I get so many emails every single day. And so it's
Same.
like, okay, if I'm gonna reach out to her, I need to stand out in a way, right? I didn't know her email, so I guessed it. I was like, most likely it's first name at domain.com.
Mhm.
Right? And then I really tailored the email because it also came from a place of passion. Like I genuinely wanted to hear about her story and have like a quick conversation with her. So that's how I wrote the email. I told her how I discovered the brand, how I discovered it at the Google office, and then just sent it off to her. And and she replied so quickly. And yeah, we set up a call, and then I've kind of seen her since then, at her office in New York when I was traveling there for work, and then kind of just like kept that thread alive. But it genuinely just came from a place of passion and a desire to connect. And I think people can sense that, right? Authenticity that
Yeah.
comes through in the communication. And yeah, I remember at the time I was just absolutely obsessed with all things e commerce and retail. And especially in the pandemic, that's when I really dug my heels in, was listening to every single NPR's How I Built This podcast. I binged watched the entire Sarah Blakely masterclass on how to build a
Mm.
business. By the way, I
It's
love
such a
her.
great yeah,
She's so
yeah.
good. Yes,
It's an
yeah.
amazing, masterclass. I binge watched it too, and
Yeah.
I love Sarah Blakely. She's just
I think one
incredible.
of the things I really love about her is she's also very her values are very clear,
Mhm,
right? And she's learned how to operate in a space that is predominantly male. Like she's talked about how a lot of she's joined entrepreneurial groups and it's usually all men. She's the only woman.
mhm,
And I remember one of the quotes actually, there was a conversation, I think she was a guest judge on Shark Tank, and someone else had said, "Business is war." And she spoke up and she was like, "I totally disagree. Like, I don't think business needs to be war. I think it could be very collaborative." I forget her exact words,
mhm.
but it's very much like, I think this idea that like a rising tide lifts all boats, and she communicates that really well. And so I absolutely adore her.
I think this is amazing first, Ivana, and I don't wanna be cliche, but I see you in, Lafleur and how the connection is, because now you've launched Playfield. You made your own bold move, and I was in preparing for this interview, I listened to your interviews, and I was like, "What?" Like, you created the brand is just like you created the mashup, is like, "You can do that? How did you do that?" So the brand is impeccable. Like,
Mm,
when you
thank
talked about like, we don't have the visuals, but just go and Google Playfield, and you're gonna see when you launched online, the different brand elements, and you're like, "This pink" first everybody knows I'm obsessed with pink. If you don't know now, you know.
the
And
power color,
it's the
yes.
power color, like pink fuchsia. So when you launched it, I was like, wow. It was like you could see the models and Ivana is there, and then you had the suit, and then you created the flowers yourself.
Yes, I don't recommend doing that ever again. I was like, "I gotta stay lean, like, this is the most budget-friendly thing," and I think when I started Playfield, I don't know what it was, I definitely adopted a very much, like, can-do attitude,
Mhm.
right, of just so, I guess something I don't share too often because I don't think I know how to tell the story, but, basically, there long story short, there was, like, we dealt with a family emergency, and there was a lot of stuff that happened to us when we were in Toronto, like, hard stuff, life stuff, right, that, like, you don't go through at work or just, really, really difficult things. And then when all this was happening, there was something else that happened, which was someone broke into our condo and stole my husband's road bike. It's like a $6,000 road bike.
Hi.
And you feel like when you feel like all the world is against you and you know when they say like when it rains it pours and we're like
Yeah.
really like this too it just feels like insult to injury. Um, and for some reason, something really switched in me where I was like, I'm not going to stand for this. Like, I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm going to figure out who stole the bike and I'm going to get it back. And all my friends were like, it's impossible. It's gone. Like, forget about it. It's Toronto. Bikes get stolen all the time. Cops don't take these issues very seriously. And I ended up through the power of community because I was posting on every single Facebook group. I was like, I need to figure out like I joined all the stolen bike groups. I was posting, I was just like sharing, you know, the news out there. And then through the power of community, other cyclists were like, I think I actually saw who stole your bike. Or like, I think we saw it at this time at this intersection. And so I was tracking it and somebody else sent me a message. It was like, I was just at this park with my son. I think we just saw your bike there at 6 o'clock, or 6 p.m. or so. I was like, okay,
Wow.
no hesitation, took my friends and we just drove there and started circling the area. I tried to get the help of cops, but they just were like, call us when you actually apprehend the guy. I was like, when I apprehend the
Oh, wow,
guy?
yeah, and then what
Yeah.
if he hits me, right?
I know. I was like, this is quite dangerous, but I honestly wasn't even thinking about that. There was just like a deeper internal motivation. My friends are very much like, she's, you know, Ivana's kind of gone off the rails. Like, she thinks she's going to find the bike, but we're her
Crazy.
friends. We'll support her. And I found the guy by sheer circumstance. He happened to walk by riding the bike, and I confronted him straight away, kicked him off the bike, and took it back. And it was
I want
just
like,
like,
how did you I wanna hear, okay, you're tall. First thing, Ivana is tall. You're taller than me. You're taller than me. And just tell me if you're doing, like, kickboxing or something
no.
to apprehend the person. You just like, what? You just whoop. You
Yeah,
just
I was like, I mean, I probably said a couple things that cannot be said, like, on on air,
we're just gonna
but
keep it
yeah,
PG-13 for
mostly
now.
PG, but I was just, like, so, inner drive, inner desire. I was like, "Hey, that's our bike, you stole our bike," and distracted him, pushed him off. He had, like, a burrito in one hand and just like knocked him off the bike. And that's how we got it back. And honestly, if it weren't for my friends, I think he felt outnumbered because there were a number of us, right? So he's like, you know
Good.
what? I don't want any smoke. I'm going to go. But that instance, honestly, where I was like, nobody believed I was gonna get this bike. Like, people thought, "Long gone, forget about it." And there's this idea of, like, I wasn't gonna be able to do it alone, right? My friends came and supported me, even if it was, like, moral support, and posting on Facebook through that cyclist community was how we found the bike, right? So, it was this life experience where, wow, we actually did something that I thought was the odds were not there.
Mm,
And it's crazy, but honestly, when that happened, I was like, I feel like surviving this and dealing with other things, it really feels like nothing is impossible.
yeah.
And if there's a will, there's a way, and you're going to find a way to make it work. And that was sort of, things kind of build upon each other. But that was like a pretty pivotal point at that point where I was like, I really think I can start a company. I have no idea how to do it. I've never incorporated anything before. I don't know the first stage of finding a product, like how do you even get something made? But I'm going to figure it out. And honestly, that was the starting point of starting, like having the
Oh,
courage to start my own company.
that's incredible. I know, I love it. I feel like what I'm hearing, and I'm doing my own parallel, is like you have this strength, you have this rage, and
Mm,
some of the things that you described that happened to you, it's my little sister who lives in Montreal. She calls it a life quake. And
mm,
I believe the term is coming from the book called Life is in the Transitions, that sometimes life is gonna send you like an earthquake, but it's a life quake, like, where everything crumbles down,
yeah.
right? Like, if, like, people have cancer, you break a leg, I don't know, you have a divorce, you have, like, all the things happen at the same time, and
Yeah.
you're like, "I think I'm gonna die."
Yeah.
And so, like, you got, like, some issues when you move to Toronto and the bike was stolen, and then how you deal with that life quake. If you decide to rise and you become like it happened to me, and I went to Africa and I found a tiger painting, and then I'm gonna make that not too long. I found a tiger painting, and then my girlfriend told me to go do some how do you call it? The frog. The frog is a plant medicine journey.
Oh,
And
it's kinda
yeah,
like ayahuasca?
it's
Or
it's it's a different version of ayahuasca, and it was so good because I was going through a life quake, and in January, I wanted to start the year afresh, and
Yes.
then I did the plant journey, and I was, like, screaming, and I was screaming, and I told my therapist or the person that guy, the shaman,
Yeah.
and I said, "There was somebody angry in me
Mm.
screaming, and I think it was a bad spirit." She's like, "No, girl, it was you." And then
Mm.
I realized I had so much anger, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I think and whether it's pent up anger or you have this energy that you can leverage to do things, to start a company, to
Mhm.
exercise, to
Mhm.
or whatever. But I think
Take control of your life.
Mhm.
Yep.
To do this very hard thing, you
Yeah.
have this oh, my headphones are not even plugged in. You have this energy in you, and you it's just a question of channeling this energy and
Yep.
a plan journey of whatever you do with it.
Mhm.
It's and that what I'm hearing from your story is you had this rage that sometimes the universe pushes you through
Yes.
an event and it's not fun, but then you found the courage
Yep.
to launch Playfield. And we're going to talk a bit more about Playfield because I find it super interesting. And it's funny you say that because then I left my job, my very
Mhm.
comfortable 19 plus point 5 corporate career in March. But like
That
with it's
yep.
like if you went back to 2017 when we were working together and you could have fast forward, I would have launched my podcast in 2017. You should have told me, Vanna. You should have
I
told me. I'm just kidding.
know.
You should have launched Playfield like slowly, like from the quad.
Seriously.
We'll be in different places, but where I'm trying to go. Come on, girl, let's go. Short sentences. We can do this. So what I'm trying to say, and it's basically that we have this energy. We're capable of doing impossible or big, like take big leaps. to get to this impossible dream. And sometimes we go through an exercise, a very
Yeah.
hardship that shows us who we really are. That's
Yeah.
all I wanted to say.
Yes. I think it's like 2 parts of it, right? Because like, the reality was, I always had the know-how. You do too, right?
Mhm,
Like, you know how to do this whether you're aware of it or not. For me, I'd spent so much of my time at Google helping other e-commerce brands grow. So, I saw it at the forefront. But I think what I was lacking was a belief in myself that I'd be able to do it, and if should I encounter any challenge, that I'd be able to overcome them,
mhm.
right? So and I've also found when you're soliciting advice from other people, it's all very well meaning, but sometimes people project their own insecurities or self doubt onto you.
Yeah.
So when you tell, like, for example, when I started Playfield, um, we are a bigger pet gear company, but we're starting off with a dog walking bag and a treat pouch. So when I told people I was making a dog walking bag, people are like, really? Like, who's going to buy that? you know?
Can you tell my neighbors to please buy it because they're, like, lazy?
Get your life together, stay organized.
Stay organized. No, but I
Mhm,
think listen, couple of things. So,
mm.
Playfield, you had the Bailey kit that went viral. Right, can you tell me a little bit more about the suite of products? So now you're already in the six figures after 1 year. How did you do it? How did you
Yeah,
do it, and how did you disregard the competition? Because it's not like you're not the first
right.
brand that creates dog products. There's multiple big
Yes.
competitors in the field.
This is gonna sound so cliche, but it did start with a personal pain point. So I was using the Lululemon bag before. If you have it, it's just I found that it was a little floppy. It didn't have all the compartments that I ideally wanted in something where I take Bailey out, my dog, every single day. And I'm taking her out 3 times a day. That's a lot of time
That's a
to
lot
go.
of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of friction. So you're, like, constantly in and out of the house, and I'm like, "I don't really wanna be swapping things in and out of bags." So it was a personal pain point that I had. I looked at other options. I either didn't like how they looked, I didn't like how they felt, or I didn't love, just the functionality of it. It was, like, missing things that I wish it had. I wanted something that was really modular, like, you could kinda customize it in a way, you could build upon it, you could shrink it down, and that's exactly what we've done with the Bailey kit. So right now we launched with essentially 2 products in 3 colors. So our hero product is a multifunctional dog walking bag. It's patent pending, and I can talk all about that too. But it's got like a water bottle that pulls out in a unique way. It's got a poo bag dispenser. It's just got really smart organization, and it looks really nice, and it allows you to go hands free with your dog as well. Then
So
we also
I'm not a dog person, but I like to understand. So first things first, Lululemon, there's like a whole section about how the downfall of Lululemon and how everybody attacked, right?
Mm.
How they became less relevant, how Elo Yoga and all those other brands took market share. So that's a good move, Ivana. Secondly, like the modules, talk about the water bottle, that's for you, not for the dog, right?
It could be for the dog too, but it's just this idea that, like, sometimes you bring water with you, sometimes you don't. You don't always want a bigger bag. Like, I don't always want to carry a backpack. But in the off chance that I'm bringing water with me, either for myself or for my dog, I want another way to carry it. So we built in a, a retractable water bottle pocket that's made of mesh. It has a drawstring closure, so you can pull it out of the bag and put water into it. And that's actually a feature that allowed us to go viral.
Mm.
Um, several times. Like, we've had some videos, like, get over 500,000 views, on just one platform alone, which is insane, and,
Like YouTube?
Instagram and then, TikTok as well.
TikTok, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
why? People are obsessed with, like, walking their dog and drinking water?
Yeah, or some it's just like it's simplifying a problem that people have, that it's an annoyance, right? When you're done with your water, you're done with your coffee, you don't have anywhere to put it.
Mhm.
You don't always wanna hold it, so you wanna put it away in the bag, and I can show you, like, where's my sample. So here's the bag in the red color, right? It looks simple, but it has this D-ring that allows you to go hands-free with your dog. There's a poo bag dispenser built in through the back, and then this is our discreet water bottle pocket. You unzip it, and then you whip this guy out, and you can use it for water. People use it for tennis balls. So if you own a dog,
Mm,
sometimes
yeah,
your ball gets really slobbery
yeah.
or muddy, and you don't want to shove that in with all of your essentials. So you put that in a separate storage that you can clean. And then there's just a bunch of other compartments in here too, like credit card slots and a key leash. So
Phone.
we really focus on human-centric design
Uh-huh.
for pet lovers.
And then you can put your phone because, like, we know
Yeah.
the phone addiction is real. We just that's
Yeah, gotta fit your phone in here, you know?
okay, and
Yeah,
that's it, and that's the Bailey kit, correct?
that's the Bailey sling bag, and then the treat pouch is another component that we have. So this idea of modularity is you can build this on top
Oh,
of the you can
wow.
actually attach it to the strap
Uh-huh.
of the Bailey sling bag, and it's for treats. It's also for a tennis ball. So again, same idea. Got a dirty tennis ball, you can actually shove it in here. We have a magnetic flap closure and a zipper that goes around so things don't fall off. And then there's a belt clip, so you can actually hook this on to the strap of your sling bag or to your pants or to something else. Because some people, when they're actively training, they want to clip this to their pants and they want to be able to get treats pretty easily.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, I must have interviewed over 100 pet parents before I launched the company when we were still going through design and iteration. So I definitely did not build this in a vacuum, but I did ask, like, what are your common pain points? Or, talk me through your day. Talk me about how you walk your dog out. What do you bring with you? Where do you put everything? And people are like, oh, I put treats in my pocket. Yeah, that actually gets kind of gross because there's crumbs everywhere.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, you pull out kind of just tidbits from people to help inform your design decision.
So what was the biggest pain point from, dog parents when they go on a walk? Like, it takes me like, I have a son,
Yeah.
5.5-year-old, it takes me ages to get ready just to go out. He's
Yep.
like, "Mommy, I want my water bottle. Mommy,
Yeah.
you should" he tells me what I should and shouldn't have. "You should bring snacks." So this is like the fanny pack for dog moms and dads.
Mhm.
So, like, what was the number one pain point? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is it's just everyone brings their dog everywhere now, right? And you don't want to be constantly swapping your 4 dog things with your other bag that you take when you go to the grocery store or if you're going to brunch with the girlfriends. You want to be able to consolidate everything without looking like, "Oh, this is my dog walking bag." So we
Mhm.
wanted something that served the purpose of just carrying your essentials, without looking like, it's like
Like a bag lady, a bag person.
yeah, exactly. So we're kind of intertwining pet and lifestyle and building within that intersection.
It's amazing. So how for all the entrepreneurs, because like this is like a big we talk about life quake, there's a career quake happening right
Yes.
now where we talk about it's like the great renegotiation or everybody's trying to figure themselves out. I talked to a lot of different Googlers who are like, I'm kind of happy, but I also have the golden handcuffs. I'm kind of like
Oh, that was
stifled.
exactly me. Yeah.
That was you too?
100%. I thought I was gonna be at Google for 5 years, and then when I looked up, it was 8 years, and it was I'm telling you, during the pandemic, when you have a lot of time to yourself to think, because you 'cause you're sheltering in place, and outside of work hours, like, I'd wake up early in the morning. First thing I did was to meditate, and the next thing I did was just listen to NPR's How I Built This, and watch I would Google, different founders, and I'd read up on their stories, and I started reaching out to a lot of founders as well because I just thought their stories were so inspiring.
Mm.
Really, really loved the idea of building from 0 to 1, and I could see myself in their shoes, but I just didn't know how to get there, and then Google was a great company, but it's just again, like, in the pandemic, when you're working from home, you're like, "It's just me and the work." Like, I'm not seeing my coworkers in the office.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying the perks of the building. I'm just doing the work, and I realize I don't really love this work. I'd rather build something for myself where I have creative control and I get to work on things that are different every single day. And that's what I wanted for myself.
So how did you make the jump? Because that's the big people are in this weird in between. And
Mhm.
some people like and I was talking to somebody last week and I'm like, "You're about to get married, which
Yeah.
means kids are coming." So how and I'm like, "Do it before you have kids or like figure
Mhm.
out what how did you transition from full-time corporate worker to full-time entrepreneur? Did you moonlight? Like what was your strategy?"
Yeah. I think I didn't, this was before we had Bailey, so I didn't have a dog before.
Mhm.
Um, So before I left Google, I tried brainstorming other ideas. I wanted to do like a clean, like eco-friendly cleaning supplies,
Mhm.
similar to Blue Land. I looked at a lot of other things, but honestly, just for myself, I found it really hard to switch my like Google brain off to then work on the side project. And it just on it, I was just exhausted. Like I was just
Yeah.
tired. I was burnt out. So I don't think I was able to really think creatively in that way. And then we had an interesting life transition where we ended up moving up to Canada. So for me, that was just the perfect time for me to be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to leave Google and I'm going to take some time off. I explored different things. I looked at the seaweed industry. I I got my Pilates certification as a Pilates instructor. I was like, I would just do something that does not involve screens for
Yes.
a while. I did a little bit of angel investing too. So I looked at a lot of different startups, which is also actually quite helpful. I looked at a lot of pitch decks, talked to a lot of founders, and again, just like exposed myself to more and more builders within the space. And so, all to say, I think with my journey, it was a little bit of a slower build. I will say though, I think I always knew I wanted to do something of my own. So when I was at Google, I was quite um, I saved my money. I saved my money, I invested it, I made sure I had, like, a decent kind of, fund I could fall back on
Yeah.
when I if I wasn't working, and then I did take on some consulting projects as well when I was up in Canada, helping other businesses, so helped me kinda just, like, fund my life as I slowly then got the inspiration. Then we, brought Bailey into our lives, and then all of a sudden I had, like, a light bulb moment. I was like, "I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna set aside X amount of money to invest in the company and build it from the ground up."
I think one of the questions that many people ask is like, and I talk to a lot of ex-Googlers, is how much do you have to save? How many years? How much runway do you need? I have my own answer, but I
Yeah.
hear yours of like how many years of life do you need to save if you're gonna become an
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your circumstance for sure. I know a lot of founders who, let's say if they, are starting a company, like some people do move back home with their family to
entrepreneur.
save on costs. That wasn't an option for me.
Yeah.
But for myself, I think I would feel most comfortable with like a year to 2 years.
Mhm.
Some people do 6 months to a year. It really depends.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough time. I think you need at least, like, a years of saving.
The people I know that even have saved 2 years, it's not enough. It's
Yeah,
not like I would say like 3 years unless you have a rich partner.
yeah,
I would steer towards 3 years because it
yeah,
might take time until yeah. Three
yeah,
plus 3 plus years
yeah,
unless you
mhm,
buy a business that's already running and profitable.
yeah. That's
Or
another option too. Yep, you could become an entrepreneur by acquisition.
mhm,
A lot more people are doing that. There's just, like, a bigger thesis of a lot of businesses coming up for sale that don't have succession plans,
mhm.
and they kind of are too small for traditional private equity, probably too small for a strategic acquisition. And these are great positive cash flow businesses. So that's another way for people to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I like your idea also of having, like, consulting,
Yep.
like, starting consulting right away. So one of my friend went out of cash and was like, "I'm starting an agency." It was 2 years outside of, like, a corporation. It was like, "I'm gonna go back to selling," and then it was like, "Oh, no, I'm just starting an agency." So, like,
Mm,
thinking about how can you get, like, cash flow quickly, even if
yeah,
as you s so it's not ideal, but if you're gonna start something that you've never done before, like,
yeah,
you could have, like, a service component and then a pure maybe if it's a product type of component, because you're gonna run out of cash very quickly, and you never know what the taxman is gonna come. There's always
oh
some
my
surprise.
goodness. And you never know when tariffs are going to hit you either.
Oh, yeah.
So,
How did
yeah.
that change? Because how like, because 'cause you're in a six-figure portion, and how is your profitability with Playfield right now?
It's pretty good. Like our so we're starting off with really strong margins with our
Mhm.
product. It's like high 70s, like low 80s.
That's like retail is normally like 40%.
Yeah, apparel and, like, it's bad. So, yeah, you definitely wanna have, like, good margins to support the business. Um, yeah, so when I first launched it, we actually so we get our products made in Vietnam, and then we import them into Canada initially when I first launched the business, and they had a free trade agreement, so you're actually not paying tariffs. So it's always important when you're, like, finding suppliers, knowing where you're sourcing from, what the tariff agreement looks like. So when we first launched, that was actually quite nice.
Mhm.
Now, I would say like 90% of our customers are in the US. So I didn't really want to continue fulfilling from Canada to the US. I
Yeah.
wanted to cut down on shipping times. And I also just wanted to find someone who could take that off of my plate so I could focus on more strategic initiatives. So now we have a 3PL in Arizona.
Okay.
Um, and
So
yeah, I mean,
US to US, so you don't have to deal with tariffs. Smart.
no, we do have to deal with tariffs, unfortunately. So now that we're importing directly from Vietnam to the US, we are getting hit with tariffs.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think it's like 17%, which is still pretty high.
It's not that bad. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
a lot of
some people, I mean, I know founders who were importing from China and they had product on the way and they got hit, I think it was like 150%, right? It's just like something outrageous. So, I mean,
their
that's,
business, they're gonna go out of business.
I know you can't, like a lot of them turn down, I found friends who turned down really large retail orders
Yeah,
because they're like, we just can't do this
they're
anymore.
gonna lose money.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. So it can be very painful. So with product businesses, something I've had to learn and I'm still learning, it's just so different from tech, right? Where you can make a change overnight and it goes live. But with product, you're forecasting months in advance and you get a lot of cash tied up too, right? So if I put in a new product order, or production order, like that's several months that my cash is out and I'm not making revenue. So a big challenge for us is figuring out how can we get to a better cash conversion cycle. Maybe it's like, how can we cut down on production times? How can we maybe get pre-orders from people, which was nice. We did do pre-orders this time around.
Mhm.
When we launched the new collection, we announced pre-orders. So you're getting a lot of upfront cash as you're waiting for your product to arrive to help bridge those months.
How long do people wait for their pre-orders?
I don't think people wait that long. I think for us, I was going to say like we're not going to do a wait longer than a month.
Okay.
So I had customers expect to wait like 3 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks, but
Okay.
we ended up getting our product a little bit earlier. I air freighted some product over so that we could quickly fulfill the orders.
And then how many product lines are you planning to have in the next, like, year or so?
Yeah, again, it depends on cash flow. We are working on more colors. We have a trade show coming up in like 3 weeks in Vegas.
Mm,
So that's when
mm.
we're going to hoping to meet with a lot of major retailers. We actually we're going live on a national retailer now, but I'm announcing it next week.
Okay. But this is not gonna be, like, I'm not releasing I'm gonna release it in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's like there's always, like, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks even before it's
oh,
released.
that's right. Okay. So then you're getting the first news here, which is that we're going live on Chewy.com, which is
Oh, that's
the
so cool.
biggest pet
Yes, yes.
retailer in the US. Yeah. They're
My
huge.
friend was a managing director there.
Oh,
That's so
really?
cool.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so congrats. It's
Thank
such a big
you.
brand.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god,
huge. They have so many customers and they're known for really good customer service
that's
and
good.
they've been trying to up level their inventory selection. So we're really, really excited to be part of that.
So it's gonna scale.
I hope so. That's
It's
that's
gonna scale. So, okay, how many products are gonna be distributed on Chewy.com?
so right now we have um let's see, 10 SKUs on Chewy.com. And then we're working on some smaller things as well that we'll test it out on our website, see how it does, and we might
Girl, you're gonna go big. You're gonna
That's
go
the hope.
big.
That's the goal.
What are you gonna do with all that money? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, man, it goes fast. You're like, "Where'd all that money go?"
I'm gonna go to Vegas. From Google to scaling on Chewy.com, being acquired to Chewy.com. No, I'm just kidding. She did
It'd be
not say
so
that. She didn't say that.
interesting. Well, you never know what could happen. You know what actually would be a really cool for full circle moment, though? If I could go back to the Google stage and talk about career journey, talk
Oh
about my
my
days on agency and helping e-commerce brands, and then becoming a speaker or something.
like, honestly, Ivana, when you told, like, when you said that you were developing your executive presence, I was like, "What?"
Oh,
Like,
really?
because, like, when we asked you at the coffee club, for your testimonial, you said that you had a goal of improving your executive presence,
Mhm.
and then you said that you gave you signed up to do a Google hangout
Mhm.
on air,
Yes.
and then because you wanted to go and branch out in
Yes.
bigger and broader places.
Mhm.
And then after that, you had the courage to reach out to the CEO of MM Lafleur. The
Mhm.
reaching out to the CEO of MM Lafleur, I think, is extraordinary.
Oh,
Uh,
thanks.
for me, the hang out on air, I'm like, she's so
Really?
pretty. What are we talking about?
You
So
know,
that's why I'm like surprised.
several years after that, I ended up hosting a talks at Google, with Sarah LaFleur. So I invited her to speak at the Google, like, Talks on Air. It's on YouTube and it's on the whatever platforms it's streamed on, but it was kind of like, again, like, full circle moment.
Wow, it's for me, it's incredible because I think some of the impacts of the program is just the confidence.
Yeah.
Because outside looking in, like every like woman, everybody's working on a skill set,
Mm,
but
mhm.
it's all in our head, like what our goals are, or we're trying to overcome something, we're trying to, or somebody somehow somewhere give us some feedback, and we internalize the feedback. But
Mhm.
the perception I mean, it's my perception. Maybe somebody else would say something else. I always thought you were very polished because I spent a lot of time coaching some account
Mm,
strategists, for example, who needed more presence, and
mm. You
I
know
don't think you were one of them.
Oh, thank you, Kathleen. There was actually something I do wanna touch on. So, do you remember at Google we did, like, insights, True Colors or something like
Discovery, yes, that was so
where
good.
you get, like, a color for your, I don't know, your personality or certain traits and things like that. So, red was a very, like, bold, assertive, um, commanding color, and I remember one of the leaders, like, really wanted more people with the red color across the sales teams, right? They're like, "We need people who are assertive, da, 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 da." And my color was green. Green is, like, about community building, it's about people. I think they perceived it as, like, a softer color, you know? And I remember actually when I was younger and very, you're easily influenced. You're like, "Oh, no, like, I'm soft. How am I gonna thrive in the sales world?" Now that I'm older though and more experienced, I see how having a unique you need diversity always.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, the most effective teams had a blend of colors,
Mhm.
not just, like, stark red across the board. And then I also found out over time that it was actually not a weakness, but a superpower. So the ability to be able to connect with a lot of different people, to
Mhm.
collaborate effectively and build these networks. I have a massive network. This sounds so braggy, but, like, I have a really big network of founders and people I've met over time. And I'm often told, like, one of my superpowers is being able to bring the right people together, but I didn't know that back then, right? Like, I
Mhm.
perceived it as a weakness and I internalized it as such and didn't actually see it for the superpower that it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's a beautiful reflection because, like, some of the insight discovery, so I was a facilitator of the insight discovery, and what is important to know is that there's a color, the
Mhm,
color evolves over time, that's number 1. Secondly is there's some people who are very balanced across the colors,
mhm, mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with having more or less,
Yeah.
but the more balanced you are, it's kind of, I don't wanna say you're a people pleaser because that's not good either, but the
Mhm.
more digestible you are to a bigger group of people.
Yeah.
I think you wanna also look at organizations and parts of an organization where there might be hiring certain trends or
Mm,
colors. For
mhm,
example, Google was very blue, which is
mhm.
analytical,
Yeah.
and red. So they
Mm,
like people who are very analytical with the red drive to action. You don't wanna be just blue because you don't wanna be coming with data and, like, buying, like, no. You wanna use the data, and then what are we gonna do with it?
mhm.
Um, Yellow at Google is not super well perceived
That's interesting.
because yellow is like, it's like social butterfly. No, no,
For
like,
leaders, though.
you just wanna have a little bit of it, not too much. And then red is like you bold, but you need the blue, right?
Mhm.
And then green is great because Rishi was a green,
Yeah.
right? So he was blue and green. So it was data, and then unify. But
Mhm,
Rishi was very popular because everybody would feel comfortable in his presence,
mhm, mhm,
right? And then things evolved. When I started at Google, I was very yellow.
mhm.
And then all the other colors, but it was yellow, red, and then at the end I was very red.
Red like Louboutin heels.
It's it's more like too many targets. It's like 10 years of target can do something to you.
Oh, I
It's
know.
and it's kind of like you're as good as last quarter's target. It's literally like if you finish at 120% and next quarter you start at 35%, nobody cares about finishing. So it's like that's gonna bring the red. So
Totally.
and what I liked about the Inside Discovery in the end is the recommendation of what you need to find balance. I think it's and that's people should and I think it was expensive, right? It's $1,500 to run this thing, but I think people should revisit it every quarter and have it as we're going to do Inside Discovery. We're going to create a plan. And once we have this plan, we're going to check in with you such that it's holistically, and then you're going to run it again next year and stuff. But nobody
Yeah.
looks at just, we have one conversation. You're busy that day, or you're
Mhm.
going to be like, you're going to think about your target. And then Ivana is going to leave with thinking that green is bad. And then that's it. And then she's going to go take a executive presence. So it's fine. You ended up doing extremely well. So,
Oh,
but it's
thanks.
all good. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Hindsight's 2020. You definitely grow and change over time.
I still remember my because I was very red at the end, and my recommendation was to do more yoga and meditation. I still meditate to Joe Dispenza because he's the best. So I want
Okay.
to do rapid fire questions because it's a career podcast, and for
Let's
the
do it.
top performers and achievers, what are your top three career advice for people who want to be able to reinvent themselves and be very courageous in their career to achieve their dreams, just like you're doing right now?
So, top three things, get to know yourself really well. Like, do the work to figure out who you are, where you excel, what you enjoy, and how you operate. Second thing I would say is it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think often you feel this pressure to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I need to do all these things, but break it down. Like three tasks most, maybe focus on one project a day. Progress, like focus on progress. If you make like 1% progress a day, it compounds. Seriously. And then the third thing I would say is try not to operate in a bubble. Like talk to people. If you're starting something, if you're thinking about starting something, set aside time every week and reach out to people you don't know and just build out that network. Like cold email, tap friends of friends, ask for introductions. But you'd be surprised. I think a lot of doors open that way when you're really just very real about what you want or what you're trying to learn.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not done with the hot seat, girl.
Yeah. Still
Okay, what is one very, very radical career advice that you would give people? Something that you didn't know like 10 years ago that you would like, if you had to do it again, 10, 15 years,
yeah.
that's what you would do instead of what you did.
Yeah. I think when you're young, sometimes when you're in a role that you maybe don't love, just know that nothing is permanent, right? And I think sometimes when I was younger, it definitely felt like there were times where I'm like, "Oh man, like I'm stuck doing this forever." Or the commute down to Mountain View, that was like an hour and a half each way, 3 hours a day. I was like, "I'm going to die on this Google bus." But
That was 5 years of my life.
it was painful,
Oh my
6 in the
gosh.
morning. It's, there's an impermanence that exists
Mhm.
that is beautiful in its own way as well. So just know that things can change overnight for better or for worse, and just try to get as much as you can when you're in that position.
Meditate on the Google bus.
Yeah. Try not to throw up on the Google bus.
How did you find your voice? And that's going to close our interview today. How did you find your authentic voice from what you shared, being the first one to graduate college, being a Chinese Canadian daughter, and being told to follow the rules and wait your turn and be silent?
Yeah. Try new things and work on sharing your voice often. So I think I found my voice by just throwing myself into unique opportunities. So whether it was hosting Google Hangout on Air or after I left Google, we did a van life across the country, like something I never thought I would do, right? But you just put yourself in unique situations where you get to learn and experience something totally different and then practice sharing your voice, whether you're journaling, right? Like writing, just go through your thoughts, process them, understand them, or talk to people or, do podcasts like this. It's a great opportunity to share and just kind of perfect it. And then over time, you have real assurance as to who you are and what your voice is.
Yeah, podcast lets you let the crazy out every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get it out there.
No, but thank you so much, Ivana, for taking the time. I'm so, so, so glad we could reconnect. And I'm so excited about your big news. We promise we're not going to release anything. We're not that fast. We're not that fast anyway. We're taking our time. We're not on the
That's
productivity
the
target
exciting
anymore.
part.
But so excited. Don't have a dog, otherwise I would be asking for a pouch. But
Mhm.
for a
That
kit
dog.
actually. But so excited. Keep us posted on everything that comes out, and then I'll be in touch as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for
So
having me today. It was so fun to chat.